Have you ever had that feeling where your team has these big, ambitious goals, but actually using AI to make them happen feels like a total black box? Well, in this explainer, we're going to crack that box wide open. We're going to show you exactly how to build powerful, automated AI workflows right from the ground up. And really, this is the core question, isn't it? We've all got these objectives, these things we need to get done. And we know AI has all these incredible tools. But how do you build that bridge between them? That can feel like a huge, intimidating leap. So, let's get into it. The journey usually starts here, with a big list of goals or jobs to be done. The high-level strategic stuff. The real challenge, though, is taking that grand vision and translating it into something practical that actually works on the ground. Look, we've already figured out the what and the why. We know what we want to do and why it's important. So this explainer, it's all about the how. We're going to focus on the concrete, practical steps to build something real. Okay, to build that bridge from what to how, you need a really solid foundation. So let's talk about the core techniques, the fundamental building blocks you're going to use for pretty much any automated workflow. And here's the best part. You really only need to get a handle on 3 core ideas to get started. That's it, just 3. Let's break them down. First up, we've got generative prompting. Now, this is cool. This is where we kind of flip the script and let the AI do some of the heavy lifting for us. Instead of you spending hours crafting the perfect prompt, you can actually have one AI model generate a super detailed prompt for another one. It's literally like having an AI thought partner helping you get the best possible results. Next up is the rule of 1. This idea actually comes from classic computing, and the philosophy is beautifully simple. Break your workflow down so that each step does one single thing, and only one thing. Why? Well, it makes your workflows way easier to build, much easier to manage, and even simpler to share with your team. And finally, we have what is arguably the most powerful technique of them all, context engineering. You see, prompt engineering is all about what you ask the AI. But context engineering, that's all about what you give it. Think about it. Anybody can ask an AI to write a marketing email, but only you can give it your company's unique brand voice, your customer data, your past campaign results. That context, that's your secret sauce. All right, so we've got our building blocks. Now let's talk about the architecture. What kind of workflow are we actually trying to build here? Is the goal to explore a bunch of new ideas, or is it to execute a very specific, well-defined task? It really just boils down to this choice. On one hand, you have divergent workflows. Think of these for exploration, like brainstorming campaign slogans, where you want a ton of different ideas. On the other hand, you have convergent workflows. These are for execution, producing one single, specific, accurate output, like summarizing a meeting transcript. Knowing which one you need is key. But you know what? The real magic happens when you start combining these 2 modes in a cycle. There's this concept in design thinking called the double diamond. First, you diverge, you go wide to explore all the possibilities. Then you converge to pick the very best idea. And then you do it again to refine and perfect it. This back and forth process is what leads to some seriously innovative results. Okay, we've got the theory down. Now let's get super practical. Every single effective automated workflow, I don't care how simple or complex it is basically built from 3 essential parts. So first, you need an SOP. A standard operating procedure. What's the manual process you're trying to automate? You have to write it down. Second, you pick the right tools for each one of those steps. And third, you put it all together into a working prototype that you can actually test and start to improve. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. Here we've got a workflow that automates a weekly marketing report. It all kicks off with a trigger from a tool like N8n, which is a great automation platform. Then ChatGPT jumps in to generate the report. That report gets posted to Slack for a real human to review and approve. This is a perfect example of that rule of 1 we talked about, right? Each tool does one specific job. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Wait, does all this automation mean I'm out of a job? No way. Absolutely not. Automation isn't about replacing people. It's about making them superheroes. The human in the loop is so critical. We trust the AI to do the grunt work, but we always verify the output, especially when accuracy is everything. A great rule of thumb is the 10-80-10 rule. 10% of your time is on the setup, 80% is the AI doing its thing, and that final 10% is for your expert review. So we've covered the theory, we've dissected the anatomy of a workflow.
Now, let's put it all together and see just how insanely fast you can go from a big picture business goal to an actual working prototype. This is the fun part. So we're going to start here with a pretty common high-level business goal. It's important for sure, but it's also kind of vague, right? It's abstract. How in the world do we make this a concrete, actionable thing? Well, this is where we can bring in AI as a strategic partner. We can actually feed this high-level goal to an AI model and ask it to analyze the problem and suggest some solutions. And in this case, the AI might come back and say, hey, the key to simplifying renewals is showing clear value. So let's build a tool that calculates the return on investment for your clients. And this is where it gets just mind-blowing. Using a tool like V0, which is an AI that generates user interfaces, you can take that simple text description, a CFO ROI calculator, and turn it into a working, clickable prototype in about 3 minutes. And that right there, that's the power of modern AI. It's the ability to just completely collapse that huge gap between an idea you have in your head and a clickable interface that you can test, that you can show to people, and to do it almost instantly. It's a game changer. So what's the bottom line here? Building powerful AI workflows is not some dark art reserved for developers anymore. If you can master these 3 core techniques, if you understand when to diverge and when to converge, and if you always start by documenting your process first, you have everything you need to turn your ideas into reality faster than you ever thought possible. And that really brings us to the final, most important question. Now that you have these frameworks, you have the power to start building. So, what's the very first process that you are going to automate?